What if I told you the key to the perfect french fry isn't in the blanching or the par frying or anything like that, but instead relies on how food manufacturers remove the white stuff from mandarin oranges? Researchers over the last 20 years have been trying to make french fries healthier by studying how they absorb fry oil. Now, the thought process was that if the fries absorb less fry oil during cooking, they have less calories and are healthier. But one of the things that scientists noticed is that the less oil the fry absorbs during cooking, the crispier and better the french fry is. And I'm talking about these french fries that I made a long time ago, a couple hours ago. They're still crispy using the concepts and ideas that these researchers have developed. As with any french fry recipe, we want to start off by peeling the potatoes and cutting them into wedges. I got for about a 1/2 inch wedge or maybe 3/8 of an inch, somewhere in that range. After rinsing off the excess starch from the wedges in the sink, I dropped them into a water bath containing a pectinase enzyme. This enzyme will break down the pectin on the surface of the fries, making them perfect for enjoyment. Here's how this works. When a potato cooks, there's going to be two different forces that are fighting each other. Starch is gelatinizing and it's swelling and swelling and swelling. On the other hand, the cell walls, the pectin especially, are fighting that and trying to keep the integrity of the potato cell even while it cooks. Scientists took a look at this under a microscope and watched a potato cell cook, one individual potato cell. During that cook, the starch granules start out small, but they keep growing and growing and growing until ultimately they fill out the entire potato cell, but they never burst it open. Now, french fry researchers have identified this creates a problem. If you look at an electron microscope image of a cut potato cell, we see all these rigid structures. The cellular network is still intact, all held together by pectin and other compounds. During the cooking process, steam is escaping and jetting out of the potato. The moisture on the inside is boiling and it wants to escape. When that is done, it leaves all these holes and crevices that oil will seep into, and once oil gets inside the fry, it loses its crispiness. Now, this comes back to the original thing of what does mandarin oranges have to do with this? Well, food manufacturers for a long time have known that white stuff on mandarins, pith, is mostly made of pectin. And in order to digest or remove that pectin, they use something called a pectinase enzyme. And that just naturally at room temperature is going to digest and break down pectin. Now, potatoes themselves don't have pith, but they are still filled with pectin. When we talked about that battle of starch and pectin fighting each other, if we remove the pectin, the starch can keep swelling and swelling until the potato cells burst and release all the starch. It's like coating the potatoes in a layer of starch without having to apply a starch slurry. After an hour of digestion, we want to start blanching the french fries. You want to have the pot be near boiling, somewhere between 90 and 100 degrees Celsius. The closer to boiling, the better, but make sure that the water is not too rough or else it will cause the potatoes to break apart. Add a generous amount of salt. This way the potatoes are flavored from the inside out and you don't have to add salt later. Once the blanching is done, be careful removing the french fries. They're very soft and delicate. It's easy to just break them apart and annihilate them, so be careful here. Deep fry in a two-stage process. The first stage is to set the foundation of the crust, and then the second is to thicken it and add crispness. I generally fry outside to not stink up and coat my kitchen in oil, but even when it's raining, it's still fun to be out here and getting fries in. And after 5 minutes of frying in the rain, we have the perfect french fries. Golden, crispy, delicious. And you know what? I'll let these guys speak for themselves. I'm not the first person to make this connection, and in fact, I'm not even the one that developed the recipe that's used in this video. So a week or two ago, I discovered this blog by Dave Arnold out of the International Culinary Center. This is a derelict blog that has been out of commission for about 10 something years. And using the Wayback Machine on the Internet Archive, I was able to look at this blog and delve into it. And this guy went through every single possible variable to develop the ultimate french fry. He was playing around with blanching, salting the blanching water, how long to blanch it. He rubbed french fries along sandpaper just to get extra grit and roughage to fry in the oil. And most importantly, he stumbled onto pectinase enzyme to treat the French fries. And Dave, if you watch this somehow makes it to you. Awesome work, seriously, excellent work. But the only issue I have is that the French fries really break apart when you are blanching them. Having in that boiling or sub-boiling water, any movement just disintegrates the fry. That's the only complaint I have. And even though I, cut large chunks, this is like broken part fry. This is a broken part fry. It's not great. But if that's my only complaint is the size of the French fry, I got another complaint because this is good. And thank you, Dave, for developing this whole recipe. Signing out.